Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to replace some hoses on this liquid manure spreader here. Basically, the last time I was hauling that liquid manure a couple days ago, we had some of our neighbors mention that it was pretty smelly, and they were kind of hinting at us to try and inject it, because we do have an injector on here. We weren't using it. We're just spraying it over the field. So they asked if we could inject it, and they were super polite, and they asked pretty respectfully. So we're gonna try and inject it now for them, just to try and get the smell to be a little bit less. I know a lot of people would say like, oh, you live out in the country, get over it, it's just a bit of bad smell, but they're really respectful and they genuinely wanted us to try. So that's what we're gonna do. We want to keep everybody happy, and my dad's in the city right now picking up some new hose. Hopefully it's gonna be the right size. So that hose right there is cracked all the way at the top, so we're gonna have to take some clamps loose down here, and they're completely covered up in crap. So be nice to work on it if they were all clean. That's what we're gonna do right now. Pulled it up by the generator shed. That's where we keep our pressure washer. So we're just gonna hose the back off here a bit. New hose, just long enough to replace the two on this end. Also grabbed an entire box of new clamps. So I just used the angle grinder and grinded off all the rust from the top spouts there. There's quite a bit on there, makes it hard to get these new hoses on there. Also using some tire lube to slide them on there. So this is the tire lube brush. Do the inside of the hose as well. Well, we got the two new hoses on there. We also had to switch the black hoses up there. You can see that's the main line that comes over top of the tank. That's where all the pressure is on, where the manure flows through. So it can go through that spray nozzle right there, or you have to switch it into the manifold, which separates it into all of these hoses for the injectors. So this thing's all ready to go to inject manure. Hopefully this helps with the smell. I'm not 100% sure it will, because it doesn't like put the soil over top of the manure, but this is all we can do. And it wasn't that hard to switch over. Just had to replace those hoses. That's why we weren't using it in the first place. They were broken and we had to go. But since our pump broke down, we got a bit of time. It looks like we might actually just fix that pump up and empty this pit out, but this thing will be ready to go when we need to go. This afternoon, me and my dad are gonna sort all the oldest animals out of corral 1. It's getting pretty full in there, and we're just gonna take the oldest steer calves and heifer calves out of there. The oldest steer calves are gonna go into corral 4, and the oldest heifers are gonna be going into corral 3. So you can see this corral is super crowded. This is the first corral all these babies go out into. It's about time we kick the old ones out. That's what happens when you're on your phone or you're supposed to be chasing cows. So these are the steers. that are old enough to go into corral 4, and the heifers are in that sort pen right there that are going into pen 3. A lot of people don't know this, but we name every single female cow on our farm. Most dairy farms do that. They register their heifers and their cows and everything gets registered. But what a lot of people don't know is that we name every single one of our steer calves as well. And I actually remember every single name of every single steer calf. I just look at their number and know their name. I'll give you guys an example. Number 201, his name is Steak. And you see 233 over there, his name is Steak. And I think that black one right there is also Steak. I know. It's pretty impressive that I can remember all their names. This black calf right here is an Angus calf. So much shorter and stubbier than the Holsteins. Okay. 1390. So now we're writing all the numbers down to the heifers that are moving into corral 3 so we can move them over in the computer. This way we can keep track of which cows are in which group. So those are all the heifers into corral 3. Now we're gonna run up all those steers into the tub and the chute there so we can vaccinate them.
Yep.
Plug the hydraulic chute in so we can move it around. Can hear that pump start up. So since the calves are still super small, there's no point running each individual calf through the chute. We just pack them in the alley here pretty tight, and then they don't really move that much. It's just a quick little vaccine, goes right underneath the skin, and we can just give it to them super easily in here. It's way more convenient. It is the next day now, and the first thing that I'm doing is putting a bit of sand in our sand room here. That's it. It's right connected to the main cow barn there. And that's where we store all the bedding. We bed with sand, and it got right emptied out the last time that we tossed some bedding in there. So the place we grab our sand from is just on the other side of the alfalfa field, right next to the barn. So the sand room is right there, and our sand pit is literally 400 meters that way. Super close, and it's awesome that we can get our sand bedding that close to the barn, and we can just grab it out of our own field. A lot of guys actually have to buy this stuff and put it in their sand room. So I'm just driving back and forth with our case wheel loader here, putting a couple buckets in there. This isn't how we actually fill the sand room. We'll typically get a truck, put a couple of buckets in there, 5, 6, and drive the truck here, dump it in there, and then we'll haul it with a truck that goes way faster. But for now, I just want to get a bit of sand in there so that we can get away with it for a little while, 1 or 2 beddings, so that later this fall, right before winter time, we can go in and fill this room right full when we have the time for it. It takes usually 2 or 3 days to fill this sucker right full. Since we hauled that lagoon empty there, I've been getting questions about spreading the sand over the fields. Isn't it really bad to put sand on your topsoil in the fields? Isn't it gonna like affect the growth of the crops? The reality is it's such a minute amount of sand. That entire room got spread over probably 400 acres of land, and it's such a thin layer. You also got to remember that it's going down with so much nutrients in that manure. By far the majority of the volume of the liquid in the pit is manure from the barn, from the cows, and that is extremely beneficial to the crops in the field. So the benefits definitely by far outweigh the cons. So here you can see this is our sand. It's pretty fine. All the grains are super small. That's fine, we don't have to sort it out. Typically if you want to separate the sand from the manure, it's better to have larger grains of sand in there. Another thing with our sand pit here, it's kind of like a layer of sand that's maybe 4 feet tall or something like that. Above that there's a bit of topsoil, and underneath it is clay. We definitely don't want to grab any of that clay if we go too deep, so we got to keep an eye on that. that is going to be it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. Check out the Instagram at SaskDutchKid, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.